Hello everyone. My name is Michael. I'm in charge of cybersecurity here in Provision ISR. And today I'm going to present the joint venture that we have with Check Point regarding cybersecurity for CCTV cameras and CCTV arrays. Before we dive into the solution, let's have a few minutes to explore the problem. What are we trying to solve? Why do you need cybersecurity software installed on your CCTV cameras? Uh, who might benefit from attacking those cameras or your network, and why? What you see here is a research done by Check Point in regards of IoT attacks, and their result, or what they are demonstrating here in the research, is the surge in attacks targeting IoT devices, mainly cameras and routers. And what you can see here to explain the graphs is the number of weekly attacks in average by sector. So if we look at the first bar, for example, if you're a research facility or a school, then you'll be suffering an average from 131 attacks per week targeting your IoT devices, mainly cameras. And you can see the trend and the surge in attacks targeting this kind of equipment. So before we go further, let's try to understand who might benefit, or who is the adversary that might try to take advantage of your CCTV equipment in order to hack into your network, and why. So we went and we mapped the attackers, or the adversary who might be attacking your network, and we divided it in general to two groups. The first are the hackers. It could be just script kiddies. They're kids. They have the lethal combination of spare time, good and stable internet connection, and curiosity. And they might be hacking into your organization. Just they're not targeting a specific organization. They're just canvassing the internet, trying to find places that might be interesting. You can see here this example is a guy calling himself God. He's publishing on a form, on a dark web form, giving away credentials or ways to infiltrate or to hack into cameras. You don't need to have any prior knowledge in cybersecurity or being a hacker or anything. You just go into the website. The guy is publishing the IP addresses, the port, username, and password for cameras that he discovered or he managed to gain access to. And here you just need to copy and paste the line from the form into your browser. Bam, you're inside, and you can be inside a camera. And that camera could be someone's home, or someone, or even a more sensitive or organization or facility that just by sheer chance got hacked by this guy. When they graduate, or when they get more experience, sometimes they go and work as cyber criminals. It's a job. People get up in the morning and they go to work in cyber crime organizations. You get you have a team leader, and you have your missions. Who are you targeting? For example, one group can have a mission to target a hospital. Now, they don't care if it's Mount Sinai in New York or whatever, Hadassah and Karim in Israel. They just want to have access to a hospital, knowing that ransomware attack against such organization would be or could be very beneficiary for them. According to Check Point, the cybercrime market is turning over more money than the drug industry around the world these days. So this is very appealing to hackers, and they are always looking for new ways or new methods in order to hack or to go to get access into organizations. The third actor are the nation state countries. I'm mentioning here Russia, Iran, and China, but it could be other countries. These are just the largest or the most known players. And the reason for the attack, I just want to emphasize here, is not only to gain access to video. It could be just as a gateway into the network where the weakest link, the most vulnerable link would be your CCTV camera. And through that, the attacker might have access into the network. In this regard, when we're mentioning access into the network in China, the Americans have long identified the threat posed by the Chinese government into to the American federal institutions or to the national security. And back in 2019, they ordered the NDAA, which is a national federal law, banning specific companies from access or from dealing with the US federal government. So in the CCTV world, for example, Hikvision, Dahua, and Huawei are banned from doing business with the American federal government. And we see the trend going to other companies around the world, to other governments, sorry, around the world, understanding the threat posed by companies controlled by the Chinese government to local security. We just recently saw Australia banning Hikvision and dismantling more than 900 cameras installed in Australian federal government facilities, replacing it with different brands. And as I said, we can see the ban going all over the world, from New Zealand, the UK, of course, and as I said, Australia. And here are more examples where, as I said, Britain removes the equipment banned by the NDA. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I just want to here give an example of how it's done. Okay. Why would someone use, or how would an attacker use a camera in order to hack into your network? What you see here in this slide is a demonstration. It's a test case presented by Verda Labs, showing exactly how it's done. If you're interested, you can go to the website. There's a small screen capture of the movie showing exactly the attack in details from beginning to end. Basically, how is it done, or how an attacker could take advantage of a camera to gain access into the network. So just to explain what we see here, we have a network. It's like a demonstration of a hospital. It's combined of a few elements. The first element is the what we see here. It's the IoT network. It's an Axis camera network. Here is the camera. Then the camera is connected into the network to organization network, where we have workstation, print servers, etc. And the network is connected into an operational network, which operates, it's the OT network, which has access to the air condition and the light switches, CT machines, etc. Now, what happens here is the attacker is gaining access to the IP camera using a known vulnerability, CV. Now, just a few words about CVs. What's a CV? A CV is it stands for Catalog Vulnerabilities and Exploits. Basically, it's a list of all vulnerabilities that were already discovered in regards or you can have it sliced. It's sliced, so you can get CVEs for different operating system, different equipment. For example, I can go into the CVE website and ask to see all the exploits for Windows Server version this and that, or in our case, Axis Camera version this and that. Sometimes, I mean, you don't always recognize that, but you get on your phone, you get a message, there's a new security update, please update your phone. Why is there a new security update? There's an update because there was a security flaw that was discovered. The company, Apple or Google, mended the flaw, and now you get patch with a new software where that hole is closed. Same happen with, or should happen with cameras. Flaws and vulnerabilities are discovered, and then the company issues sometimes they don't even issue a patch because it's an end of life device or it's not common enough. But sometimes they do issue a patch and you need to update your camera. The thing is with cameras is that nobody updates the software on the camera. On your phone, it will nag, and eventually you will need uh, to install the update. Same as with your computer. But on your cameras, especially in large organizations where the company that installed your camera has no motivation to come to your organization and to update the cameras. And there's also the logic that if it's working, don't mess with it, and the system is working, so why fiddle with it? So that makes the situation even worse for us because now the hacker he doesn't need to go and do the research and find the loophole or whatever. He can just scroll or go to the CVE website and find the recipe. How can I hack into this and that model of a access camera? Everything is there because there is specification of when the patch is done, exactly what it closes and what's the vulnerability, and very easy you can gain access to a camera, to an unpatched camera. So here in this example, the attacker is using the known CVE to gain access into the camera. You can see here, it's a screenshot from the video. The hacker gets access through the camera into the network, to the organizational network, where using once again another CV for Windows, he gains administrative access to that computer. And now inside the network, what is done is it's called lateral movement. The hacker gets access into the OT network, and here you can see that the hacker managed to turn off the lights. It's on the upper photo and it's off on the lower one. And if you have good eye vision, you can see that there's a fan over here, and the fan is turning on the upper image and not turning anymore on the lower image. So hacker managed to gain access into the network, eventually uh, taking off or turning off lights and air condition. And here the access was done through a camera, but video footage was not the target here. Nobody gained access to the NVR. There is not even an NVR configured in the network. The sole purpose of the camera is to allow the hacker to go into the network and then do the lateral movement. If you want, you can see that this is the wide attack. They just want to demonstrate that once they are inside the network, they can do whatever they want. And there's crypto miners installed here and a ransomware attack, etc. So not always the attack is targeting CCTV or video footage. Sometimes it's only to gain access into the network, and sometimes it's also targeting video footage. You know, there's a saying that an image is worth 1,000 words. So I don't know how much does a video footage of 5 minutes worth, but you can understand nowadays it's very appealing to get access into or internet access into organizations for various reasons. Here are the obvious ones. You can use the video for information gathering, extortion. You can tamper with the recordings. For example, you were inside the facility and you want to delete the footage indicating that you were there. You can plant AI or you can hack into a network, gain genuine video footage from that network, from that organization, tamper it with it, play with it, use AI to orchestrate something else, and then plant the manipulated video inside the organization. Now you can incriminate someone in doing something that they didn't do. Most cameras are equipped with microphones, so you can use it for eavesdropping, espionage, whatever. I'll just show an example. It's a nice example of an attack targeting a CCTV array. What you see here is a prison in Iran. Recently, we had, last night, we had an attack from Iran. It was unprecedented. We had more than 300 missiles and drones targeting Israel. And this is 2 years ago. when the war was still only cyber war. But here, an organization which is opposing or trying to raise public opinion against the regime in Iran, they hacked into a prison in Iran. They were inside the video system for quite a while, trying to gain access to video footage, which is embarrassing for the government, for the Iranian government. Once they had enough video footage that they wanted to leak into the press to show how prisoners are being abused, etc., they saw that inside the one of the cameras inside the prison is overlooking the control center of the prison, and they thought it would be nice to take off line the video system, the VMS server, to plant, as I just mentioned, video orchestrated by them with a message from the attackers, and then film the whole thing and leak that also to the press. So what you're going to see now is a small footage from that attack. So this guy is sitting in the office or in the control center, not aware of what happened. You can see jumped into the beginning of the attack. So the middle screen is already on blue screen. I see the outer screen is flashing red. In a minute, there'll be a message from the attackers saying that the prison is a black spot on the Shah's white beard or something like that. My version is not Persian, but the guy stands across someone hacked into the system. He's going to call for help. This is the help. As you can see, there is much to do. They have a protocol that just completely buffered by the attack. The whole network is now down. The only thing they have to do is just to take the photo with the phone. And then you'll see the footage that was leaked in the press. And it was leaked to BBC Persian and broadcasting to the people over there. And this is video footage showing the inside of the prison. As you can see, quite unpleasant footage and embarrassing for them. So now, when we are familiar or we understand the problem, we can dive into the solution. How do we manage to find a solution to this cyber problem? So basically, ProVision ISR has a very strong cybersecurity department. We take all the necessary means, best practice, to secure our equipment. But at one point, we understood that it's not our bread and butter. The cybersecurity is not something that we do. It's not. We are very good with analytics, with optics. We are the best in our field, but cybersecurity is not our field. When we started manufacturing cameras, they were analog cameras using a coax cable, recording the video on an old VCR. No cybersecurity over there. In time, it became more and more complex. The cameras are now stronger and stronger in regards of computing power. Memory is growing larger, and now they're appealing enough, as I just showed, to attackers. So we understood we need to cooperate with the cybersecurity camera. They will do their job. They know how to do cybersecurity company, and we'll do our part. So we managed to we found ourselves in that joint venture with Check Point. Just a few words of Check Point, one of the world leading cybersecurity companies. Today, more than 6,000 employees worldwide. They have customers in more than 88 countries, 100,000 customers. This is the growth, Check Point's growth throughout the years. It started in 1993 with the founders, and as I said today, more than 6,000 employees, net worth of $40 billion, sales of $2 billion a year with a net profit of around $1 billion. It's a very respectable and large company. Few of Check Point's clients, I'm sure you can recognize most of the logos, but you can see all the industries are here: the banking industry, law enforcement, commercial, airlines, pharmaceutical. all the large, or very large and respectable organizations put their trust in Check Point's cybersecurity. So, how does the solution work? Basically, it's combined of three layers. The first one is the firmware security. How can we make sure that the product that we are marketing or we are selling is leaving our factory as secured as possible? The second is the threat prevention. Once installed, how can we rest assured that nobody can attack or exploit, as I showed, our equipment? And the third is the cloud management for this is not for everyone, but if you are interested, then how can I get updates and the reports from the equipment to know that everything is up and running, that there was an attack? I'll go into details in a minute. Oh, the first layer, as I said, the firmware security. We design our product. We will choose components that are NDAA with compliance. We will set our security policy. For example, Check Point will not tell us if password 1 through 8 is acceptable. It's not, but this is our policy. This is our domain. Once we are done, we set everything which is in our responsibility. We use the best practice and the best materials and the most updated software versions, etc. We have our prototype ready to go. At that point, we need someone to assess if what we did here, cybersecurity wise, is okay. So we send that prototype to Check Point. Check Point run we call a risk assessment process. Well, essentially they will try to hack into the camera. It's not something random. They have a very tight and very orderly protocol, but they will go. I won't go and explain all of the tests, but just maybe a few of them in a word. They are trying to see if there is a way a hacker can, or something a hacker can use in order to hack into the camera. For example, we spoke about CVEs. So they are checking, are there known vulnerabilities inside our software? We are using also third-party software sometimes. So are there any known vulnerabilities in that software? If so, then we need to change them. One other thing which is very interesting is the suspicious domains. As I presented earlier, sometimes, there was the issue with the Hikvision IVMS server, which is communicating with servers in China without the user's knowledge or approval. Check Point, if someone had installed any backdoor or any software that would communicate with servers, then you have to key in the server's address. When that piece of software wakes up, it needs to communicate with someone. So it needs an IP or it needs an address or domain name to communicate with. So here, Check Point are looking through the binary of the file. They're not searching for or sniffing the communication, because if you sniff the communication, you don't know when the software would become awake and would communicate. Maybe there's a sleep timer. So here they are checking, they're going through the binary and checking, did someone plant an IP address which is suspicious, which were not supposed to be there? And if so, what is that and why? So if someone tried to manipulate with the software or tried to install a backdoor in the facilities or as a part of the manufacturing process, then here they would find it. So this is a very strong and very good check. Eventually, again, I won't go through all the checks. If it's interesting for you, or you want to go into more details, then we can arrange that. We can also arrange an explanation or a meeting with Check Point to go into details of exactly what's being checked and how. But eventually, at the end, we get a report, a risk assessment report saying, okay, guys, this is what you did, this is what you did okay, this is what you did wrong. Please pay attention, and this and that sub process you need to update. You're not using the latest software model, there's a new one, please amend that. Once done, we amend whatever needs to be amended, and we have a prototype, or we have a product ready to go. But before we launch it, there's the prevention, the threat prevention that we need to install. So this is called the Check Point Quantum IoT Nano Agent. Basically, it's a piece of software that we install on the camera. We upgrade the camera's memory and we upgrade the CPU a bit so it can handle the additional tasks. And here it loads with the camera. Essentially, when the camera loads, the software, the security software loads also with the operating system. And it runs a few mechanisms. Again, I won't go into details on each and every mechanism, just to give you the concept. Since the camera it's a closed environment, it's very easy. It's easier to secure a closed environment than an open one. Uh, I mean, how does an antivirus work? Most antivirus or most firewalls also are signature based. I don't know if you, as the owner of the computer, you can do with the computer whatever you want. You can compile a specific software which is only for you. You can install it on your computer. It's not a malware. It's completely legitimate. I don't know if it's a real one, a bad one, a malware. I can't know. The first time someone installs a piece of software on a computer, and that piece of software is a Trojan horse, and you find out that was a Trojan horse, then your antivirus or your security software would sign the file, and now it knows how does that file looks like, and there's an update going to all the other software installed throughout the world, and now you're protected. But the first guy that was hit by that specific Trojan or malware or whatever got hit, and only after, same as with Corona or other human viruses, you get hit, you learn how does the virus operate, how does it look, and then you find or you immune the other people. Our system works differently. Since the camera is a closed environment, I don't need to know what exactly is the signature of the attack. How would the attack look like? I know what is the legitimate behavior of the camera, and now I just need to make sure that nobody is messing with the legitimate operation of the camera. For example, the flow control integrity, the control flow integrity, sorry, is a method. It's a very interesting and very strong method. Checkpoint is learning the software flow, the path where the software processes, commands, etc., are walking through the path. So, for example, when the camera loads, the initialize function, this is the first to load. Then it can call either function B or function C or function D. Then function D can either call function F or go back to A, etc. So there's a path of commands. This is the legitimate path. Any deviation from the path is wrong. There should be no deviation because I know exactly what is the legitimate path. So Checkpoint is monitoring the commands, each and every command, making sure that the commands are in the path. Everything is legitimate. If there's a deviation from the path, it means that there's a new process, there's a new piece of code, someone is trying to manipulate the camera, and this is essentially an attack. So the nano agent will block that deviation, would redirect the camera to the legitimate, to the right path, having it blocking the attack, the camera can continue its normal operation. So this is a very strong mechanism preventing an attack. Again, you don't need to know what's the attack. You just need to know what is the legitimate behavior of the camera, etc. For example, if the file protection, if an attacker would like to add its own code, it needs to have access to the file system. So we are protecting the file system. Since we know exactly what needs to be written through the file system, then we know what's not a legitimate action against the file system, and we can prevent file system alterations. Same with so you would say, okay, so the hacker won't hack into your file system. He would put his code in the dynamic memory. That way, if the camera reboots, then the code is gone. But at least he has, you don't reboot your camera every day. So we monitor the dynamic memory also. There's dynamic memory protection, etc. Anti-shell injection is the most common way of attack against cameras, where the attacker is using the fact that you are essentially allowed to have some communication with the camera and changing parameters in the camera. For example, you can change the camera's name from cam1 to meeting room 1. So the user is allowed to have communication with the camera, changing or giving commands to the camera. Shell injection is a way where where there's a flaw, there's a vulnerability, where the attacker is using legitimate commands and then putting at the end of the command his malicious code, uh, trying to uh, make the camera not aware that the fact that there's a command which is ended, and now the camera would run the legitimate command and then the rest of the commands at the end of the legitimate one, and this is a method of attack. So here, Check Point is monitoring each and every command executed by the camera, making sure that this method of attack is prevented. Now I spoke about cameras, but this is true not only to the cameras, but to our recording devices also, and for our video management systems. So if you are buying equipment manufactured by Provision ISR, then we put the same protection, the risk assessment process, the nano agent on the NVR, on the recording devices also, because they are part of the network and they also need to be secured. So here you can have the icon of Check Point. So if you look at the icon, you will see that you are protected. If you click on the bar, then you will see that you are protected, that all the mechanisms that I just spoke about are up and running, etc. The third cloud, or the third layer, as I said, is the cloud management. So here, if you are a Check Point customer, then you can have your log, your reports from the equipment in driving into or stream into your Infinity portal. This is the management system by Check Point. If not, then you can have a local, every event, every security event, every attack prevention is being logged locally on the device itself. And from there, if it's interesting for you, then you can get the log from the camera. If it's not, then you don't need to. Basically, the Check Point's methods of operation or their philosophy is prevention, not intervention. So the attack is being prevented, and you can continue your work without any intervention needed by the user. But if you are the system, the CISO, and you want to know that someone is trying to hack into your cameras, maybe they won't succeed over there. So the next step would be to send a phishing email or something else. So you want to be alert and aware, so you can review the log files and stand that you've been attacked, although you are still secured. So that's it. This is the solution, and this is the joint venture with Check Point. If you have any more questions or you want to more details, then please feel free to contact us. We are here for you. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.